start. And that way I can record it. You can always catch the replay. So, how did you enjoy the second two chapters?
I liked them. They, I mean, like I said, I read them earlier in the week and I started listening to them again today. I didn't get all the way through them, but.
Yeah, I definitely felt like these two they really tied in together.
Yeah.
And I accidentally forgot how much they tied in together. So when I was listening, I was like, this is really powerful, because I think sometimes we don't realize how much these key points come in. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine.
My
Welcome.
book is falling apart. No.
So I'm going to I think it'll, just to make it easier, is we'll just kind of talk about both chapters 2 and 3, because for the most part, it's talking about things that hold us back. Chapter 2 was talking about holding us back, and then chapter 3 kind of leaned into self-limiting beliefs. So, Kirsty, if you want to share anything from either of those chapters that really stuck out to you, and then I'll say my final stuff afterwards.
One of the parts that I had listened to again with how much I actually got through when I got back from my run tonight, I have it highlighted. It's, you may not even realize it, but you are forever changed as a person when you remain chained to a life that is not aligned with your authentic self. And without even realizing, I don't know if you saw my post from earlier today, but I didn't even do it on purpose, but I kind of realized that what I posted today kind of went along with that. Like, you're not unless you are yourself, you're just not you. I don't really know how other way to word that, but you can't go through life being somebody different. And in my post today, I was kind of just talking about how it took me a long time to start really embracing the flaws and what makes me, my anxiety, my outspokenness, my crazy spazziness, and, what have you. And, I was at a point where I was almost changing my behavior, because I don't do well when people don't like me. Or if people are upset with me or anything like that. I don't do well with that. So I found and it took me a while to even realize this, but I would change my behavior, and how I responded to certain things. Yeah, hardcore people pleaser. How I would respond and behave towards certain things just to make sure that I wasn't upsetting anybody. But it's really you're not being true to yourself by doing that. And you just have to kind of stop being afraid of who you actually are as a person. Embrace your flaws. Know that you are perfectly imperfect. And, pardon my language, but fuck them if they don't like you. And that kind of just, when I reheard her say that quote, I was like, whoa, I did not totally mean to do that with my post today, but that's just what really stuck out with me today.
I think that's awesome how sometimes we accidentally will share something and not even realize how much it ties into what we've heard or we've read. Because I've caught myself doing that. I'm like, oh, okay, that was accidental, but this is awesome. All right, Miss Justine. So what we're kind of doing is I'm giving, because I said to Christy and Jasmine that I didn't even realize that chapters 2 and 3 just collided so perfectly together, like peanut butter and jelly, that so I had Christy kind of share a little bit for her, out of the two chapters, what things really stuck out to her. So I'm giving everyone their chance. Jasmine hasn't gotten the book yet, which is perfectly okay. She's gonna take awesome nuggets from this. So I'm kind of giving everybody their like things that is it by Kara?
This is the book.
It should be by Kara.
Kara Allwill.
Yes.
The front of it looks different than yours, I thought. But
I think because I'm reading it from the audiobook.
oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
hers,
You might
and
have the workbook. That's probably, is that what that is? Yeah.
it does have spots in it you can do work, but it has the chapters. But the really cool thing is I bought it on Amazon. It wasn't really that cheap, but it was used and is in good shape. Hopefully it's the right book. But she signed it. So I'm Andrea right now.
Because chapter 2 talked about holding yourself back. And then chapter 3 was self-limiting beliefs.
So chapter 1 in my book is what would you do if you weren't afraid?
Yes. Yeah. So you're
Decide
good.
what you want. Oh no, that was introduction. Sorry. Decide what you want was chapter 1. Own your desires and then get confident. That's right.
Yeah. And then I never write what I forgot to write chapter 2, but chapter 2 is talking about you'll never be able to bust through the blocks that hold you back.
Own your desire.
Yes, thank you. And then chapter 3 about self-limiting beliefs.
Yes. Okay. I just read it.
Okay, so pretty much the questions are like, what are from the 2 chapters that stuck out to you and really kind of resonated with you and why?
Well, the second chapter, I'm not sure anything really, well, maybe it did, but the third chapter really stuck out to me because I guess it's kind of where I'm at in my life. So I did nails for 29 years, which basically just probably lost my business, basically. And I would have been losing my stuff prior to my growth. And finding gratitude and everything because I would have never walked away from it. I would have stayed stuck trying to make $1 out of 15 cents when reality was I think I was just doing it because that was what I was supposed to be doing because that's what I went to school for, not necessarily because of what I wanted to do. And also, well, my dad did tell me one of my limiting beliefs, which I wrote from a different book I read the other day, was you'll never make it. And I did open up my own salon and I did have it for almost 19 years and I did make it. So I guess trying to figure out where I belong right now and what I would enjoy doing and not limiting myself, which is why I'm back in school. Not sure if that's where I'm supposed to be going, but I'm definitely not limiting myself anymore. And I'm not letting it collapse me because before I would have totally let it collapse me. And now I'm just like, okay, what's supposed to come now? You know, what am I going to learn from this situation? And what's going to make me happy? And I will say that I'm just learning like all this stuff in the last few, 2 months maybe, of doing stuff when you're uncomfortable or actually not being the victim, let's put it that way. And stepping out of my comfort zone as far as like asking people for my friendship on Facebook or whatever and not getting a response. I was letting it collapse me. Whereas now I'm like, okay, no, that's not my person. So then I just continue, you know, it's just, and what I desire and what I want and what I was asking for wasn't really all what I want. If that makes sense.
Good. I like that. So I try to take like a million notes and then kind of tie it into my obvious personal life. So like with chapter 2, with it talking about things that kind of block us, I for me, one of the things is that I definitely will say I've noticed over the years is, you know, she says in it, we hold ourselves back because of other people. Kind of like what Justine was talking about, you know, just stepping out and, you know, running her own shop. I know for me, for a fact, that I was afraid to just even make the decision of getting out of the marriage that I was in, because I was just afraid, because I was so consumed by what everyone else thought. And I was, put in that light where people would have, I felt that judgment. Then kind of stepping out and doing network marketing. Oh, what were people going to think? So it was the tendency at first to kind of hold myself back from that, because I was I thought too much about what everyone else was thinking. And then one thing that she said that I just was like, okay, was, you'll deprive yourself of a passionate and happy life if you are too busy pleasing others. And that for me was like the nail that hit on the head, because I definitely can say I noticed a difference when I was too busy people pleasing like Christy and trying to do everything for everybody else. But what about Ashley? What does Ashley desire? What does Ashley want? And once I put myself first, it changed. And that's even when it came to me making the decision as far as how I felt in the form of me powerlifting and going to the gym as much as I did. In the beginning, I was so busy because other people were like, "Oh, you're so obsessed with the gym. Oh, you're being selfish. You're being a terrible mother because you're constantly working out and this and that." So I then put it on the back burner, and then I gained all my weight back, and it just got ridiculous because I wanted to make everybody else happy, and then I forgot about my own happiness and what was helping me get through my dark moments, after losing my mom. And now it's like the past couple of years, I'm like, I've regained me back. And I almost backslid when I hurt myself, but this has helped me regain who I am, because I'm like, I don't need to please anybody else. And then, of course, in quarantine and all this other stuff going on, and then the gym opened back up, I was ready to go. Other people thought it was crazy. And I'm like, this isn't about you. You can like it or you can hate me going back to the gym, but guess where I'm going? I'm going to the gym. See you later. The weights need me. And that was my attitude. And that is something that this has really helped. And then not playing the victim mode and me saying, well, everyone's telling me I shouldn't, because of COVID and because I have asthma and da 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 da. I could have used that as an excuse as to why I don't go to the gym. But that also then plays into the self-limiting beliefs of people telling me I'm selfish. How could I do that? How could I put myself in that situation? And the biggest thing she said was think about celebrating my strengths, so celebrating and complimenting myself. And then she brought up the fact of us, those of us that have kids, we would not bash our kids for their failures and their faults. We would be praising them for all their good things about them. And I know I'm so good at like us that are going through a weight loss journey. We are good about picking at every little thing. Everyone else can say, like Christy did the other day when she shared her transformation pic. She's like, oh yeah, there's that one picture. I feel like this picture is better than the other picture, because she started noticing her quote unquote flaws. When we, on the other hand, are like, no, you look fantastic. And we tend to do that. We will self-sabotage ourselves and critique ourselves so negatively when we should really be celebrating and complimenting ourselves. And she says there's nothing wrong with loving yourself and appreciating everything that you are. It's not cocky, it's not arrogant. And also it depends on how your tone is. But if you are waking up every single morning and you're like, you know what, yesterday I was waking up at 7:30, but now I'm waking up at 7. Man, that is awesome. Even with us losing weight, we could be like, oh man, I'm not where I want to be, but man, look at how much stronger I can be, or look at how much further I can run. Look at how much heavier I can pick up the weights. Even when we may feel defeat on certain areas, we have to think about those smaller wins. That's why even like when we talk about in the business, celebrate the little wins. Celebrate those $5 paychecks. Celebrate that even if you're able to being able to help somebody, earn $5 credits in their account. We have to celebrate all of those little things. You know, just even having the conversation with the potential, even if they don't order from you right away, even if it takes them another 6 months to a year to finally be like, all right, I'm ready. You know, I've been having some conversations with the same people for months, but that's okay. I'm planting the seed. They're seeing me sharing my stories. They're seeing my enthusiasm. They're seeing what I'm doing. And that's really all it is. You just have to continuously water the seed and continuously show up. And then eventually they're going to get to the point where they're like, all right, you sold me. Like you keep going. You haven't given up. All right, I want what you've got. You know, so it's just celebrating the conversation that you have with somebody, celebrating when you just share every single day about how great you feel. That is what is important. And we have to work on breaking those beliefs in ourselves, those limiting beliefs where we may have heard from other people telling us that we're not good enough, or we're a failure at this, or we're never going to amount to this, or you'll never be able to reach that goal. We have to try to break ties with that. We almost have to break up with it like a relationship. And it's hard, but the more we celebrate and the more we focus on the positives about ourselves and the accomplishments that we have done, it's going to be easier to get rid of those limiting beliefs that we might have had before. Because I know for me in the past, I was so fixated on, quote unquote, getting to a certain size. So there were people that always said to me, well, you would look so much better if you weighed X, Y, and Z weight. And it used to really drive me crazy, and it really would fester in my brain until it got to the point where, you know, this past year, where I kind of stopped them in their tracks, and I was like, you know what? I love being strong. I love being able to know I can pick up 400 pounds and slam it to the ground as opposed to being a stick figure. I'd rather be strong and still look even better than just be skinny person. And, you know, I kind of shut them down because that's all I heard. All I heard was you would look so much better if you weighed this much weight. And then, of course, when it came to me cutting my hair, you would look so much prettier if your hair was longer. And old Ashley would have let those self-limiting beliefs say, you know what? Maybe if I had long, luscious hair like all the other girls on social media, maybe if my hair was straighter, maybe if my hair didn't look like this, I would be prettier. Maybe boys would like me. Back then, I would have. 2020 Ashley, post quarantine Ashley doesn't care. I have gotten to myself in the head of, I'm going to rock it and I'm going to look hella good with it. And you best believe when I looked at those pictures from my comp and I saw my photos, I was like, this is a badass woman right here. This is a badass mama right here that is showing the world that she doesn't give a flying flip. And that is the attitude that I always want to continue to resonate for other women, and especially for my child, because she's watching me. And I will be darned if I allow her to let the world tell her that she is only pretty if she has this color hair, or she looks like this, or she wore this outfit. I am trying to teach her to not think that way. So I loved so much that these chapters really just talked about breaking down those old chains, because that's really what it is. It's us breaking down those patterns that we've heard in our past to push forward to the next part of our future, to really breaking the barriers of owning ourselves and being more confident in believing who we are on the inside. And I think that's huge. So kind of for me with this whole thing is, for my challenge for all of us this week, maybe reread these 2 chapters, and then obviously we're probably just going to do chapter 4 next week. We might do 5, I haven't decided yet. But I kind of want to challenge you guys this week to really, almost in a way, celebrate the one thing that you normally would critique at. Celebrate that one flaw that you would normally be like, oh, I can't. For me, I always would critique my legs and my arms sometimes. I would critique like those things, or I would critique my stretch marks. So this is going to be me celebrating my stretch marks and my cellulite. So I really want you to share a photo of yourself. Get vulnerable. This is where that vulnerability comes into play, and celebrate that. Show what that part of you that you used to dread, what it can do, what it has done. You know, we are superheroes in our own right, and we are a superhero to somebody, and somebody is just sitting there hoping that the things that they critique themselves about, that they nitpick at themselves about, they're hoping that somebody can celebrate it and embrace it and be like, this is beautiful. So that's what I want all of us to be able to do, is to celebrate how beautiful our quote unquote flaws are, and not allow ourselves to bash ourselves.
Does my picture speak about my stomach count that I got 90 likes on? I'm thinking, if they wanted to see a fat girl, I could have showed them a long time ago. I had no idea I was going to get that kind of response.
And that's
Wow.
true. Sometimes people appreciate when they see that. You know, we think that they just want to see, you know, that small girl, you know, with the perfect shape and the perfect beauty and everything else and the perfect hair. And half the time they want to see real. They want to see real women that don't have it all together sometimes and aren't afraid to talk about it. And I think that's what it is. Not that many women want to talk about it. Some want to just put on the highlight reel. There was an old Zoom I had done where I mentioned, you know, don't be fooled by everyone's highlight reels, because they're not giving you the behind the scenes. They're not giving you, you know, the battles that they face every day. They're not giving you their imperfect selves. They just want everyone to be envious of their perfect vacation, their perfect husband, their perfect children, and that's not real. People want to see real people that feel, that hurt, that don't always feel like they are good enough, you know, and that's okay. So don't be ashamed, and don't feel like you always have to show up with, hey, life is perfect. It's okay to be like, hey, it was a rough day, but you know, thank God for these 3 steps to get me through that rough day. You know, this mom day was a little stressful, but thank goodness for these 3 steps. Like, I was supposed to clean Gabby's room, and that did not happen, and that's okay. I said I was gonna finish tidying up her room. I didn't do it because I said, you know what? She's gonna be 13. She can figure this out for herself. I said no. So I gave myself grace that I did not do what I set out to do. And that's all right. And I can share that. But that's a challenge that I want us to really do, is celebrate and love something about ourselves that normally we would be so quick to hate and dislike about ourselves. So that is my challenge for y'all this week. So does anybody have any questions, any comments, any statements, anything? And if that's it, then I will post this recording on my YouTube. And yes, go.
What was our first thing we were supposed to do? The first question, I didn't have my book, but I wanted to write it anyways.
Oh, the question from last week?
Yeah.
Oh, the question from last week.
What was our desires?
Yes, what do you want and what is your deepest desire? That was last week's question.
Thank you for doing this, Ashley.
Oh, I love this. This is fun. Honestly, I feel like we need to be really more aware of how important self-development is, and how important it does help tie it not just into our business, but tie into our personal life. Because I think I've gotten a lot better mentally, because I make sure I try to self-develop. Even if it's not me just listening to a book, if I'm at least doing a devotional, something to fill my tank, it definitely makes a difference. And I can tell the difference when I'm mentally there and when I'm not. So it's so important, especially for anyone that's, you know, all of our girls that are new in the business and never thought about self-developing in the past. I've been very thankful that I finally, after a year and a half, really dug deep into podcasts and these books and stuff, because it's helped so much. So I was really glad to be able to start this up at least.
Right.
It only took me a little bit to get brave enough to be like, hey, so I'm going to start one. So but
fun and celebrate that one part of you that you critique yourself, and celebrate and love something about yourself that what?
Love yourself. Something that you normally would hate about yourself, like not hate, dislike, like that part of, like, whether it's your body or something about you that you're like normally like, celebrate the positive of it. So, but yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, I will share the recording in the Audacious page, and
Okay.
I'll even put it in the group chat in case anybody that didn't get a chance to watch this, they can watch it.
Thank you.
But I appreciate you ladies so much. We will resume back on Thursday at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Justine's time.
Okay, thank you.
I was like, West Coast is 5:30, Central is 7:30, and then Mountain is 6:30. I'm getting better. So West Coast.
I don't even bother.
I'm trying to get better at time zones. So West Coast, it's 3 hours because I'm on the East, so it's 3 hours ahead of me. Mountain, I believe, is 2 hours ahead of me, and then Central's an hour before.
My brother lives out in Colorado, and he's been out in Colorado now for probably like 10 years. I still don't know the time difference.
It's terrible. So I'm trying to get better at this. I feel like I should be better at this. So, like, of course, when Becca went on Wednesday, I was in my mind thinking,
oh my God,
and then I was
missed
like,
it.
oh, 8 o'clock. Oh, never mind. Whoops. So
all of a sudden, everyone's commenting about how good she did. I was like, oh, shit.
So I was like, oh boy, this isn't gonna go well. So yeah, we'll resume back on Thursday, and I hope you guys have a good Friday night. Thanks for spending your Friday evening with me on this impromptu.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you ladies, and enjoy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.